What's up, guys? It's Toad back with you Sunday, May 18th. Coming off a losing day yesterday. Unfortunately, I was 2-4. I did get a slight win on the Preakness, but I'm just not counting that in those records at all. So the Preakness, the way that I did it was I had some exactas, trifectas with the horses that I laid out yesterday, and that kind of amounted to a little bit less than what I had on just the winning horse. I literally just played a bet on journalism to win, so I got that right. Just was able to take that one. I thought that he was significantly above the rest of the field, so I did do that. I mentioned that on my show, so at least that hit. So it was a slight win for me on the Preakness. Not anywhere near as good as the Kentucky Derby, but with the Preakness, because there were way fewer horses, you can key on one horse more easily to win that thing. So that's what I did, although the exotics that I had were not winners. Because Gosture, or whatever his name was, came in second and broke the whole thing. My other two horses that I liked were terrible, or two of the three, I mean. Clever Again and American Promise didn't do well. And I don't even remember where River Thames, I think, might have wound up fourth or something, but whatever. And Sandman broke into the top three, which he's a good horse, but again, I just think he's a little bit overpicked. But then lost on the Las Vegas Aces. I apologize for that. Well, maybe I don't apologize. I don't know. I mean, they were in that game in the fourth quarter. It was really a weird game of quarters where I think Vegas played a really good second quarter and one other really good quarter. I forget which, and it just didn't get there. They couldn't get it done. Dallas Stars got there for me late in the night, so that worked. We had the Mets-Yankees over, not even close, unfortunately. Washington first 5 innings was an easy winner on the Washington Nationals. They had a 7-0 lead, I think, at that point, and the bullpen almost blew the game. But they did win the full game as well because the Orioles stink. The Atlanta Braves was the most frustrating one because the first 5-inning bet would have won on the Braves. My Red Sox wound up winning, overcoming a 6-2 deficit in the 7th inning, tying it and then winning with a walk-off home run by Devers. Just ridiculous because Red Sox bullpen, I mean, they've been okay, but I don't think they're that good, so I didn't really mind including the bullpens in that situation. I thought that game was going to be an easy win. I was like, oh, Atlanta's up 6-2 in the 7th. It's over. So I handicapped the starting pitching matchup right. We got the better start out of Holmes and wound up not getting there. Very, very unfortunate there. And then the Dodgers, I don't know what is up with the Dodgers, but we're going to talk about them again in a second as they fell behind 3-0 immediately as Clayton Kershaw just did not have a good start. And that was really, I mean, there were a lot of components to that handicap, and I thought really everything was in favor of the Dodgers in that game. Just Kershaw, him just seemingly not being totally ready, just completely threw off the entire handicap. I mean, what can you say? And the Dodgers still overcame that early deficit actually immediately, had retaken the lead, and they were still up 2 runs in like the 7th inning. And then blew it again, and their bullpen actually imploded, and they lost the game to a very weak-hitting Anaheim team. Very surprising. And let's talk about it right now. We'll talk about NBA first, just because I apologize. I thought that game was going to be yesterday, and it's going to be today. So Nuggets Thunder, Game 7. I talked about it yesterday, so if you want to see more analysis on that, you can go look at yesterday's video. But I'm going to basically say the same thing again here. I'm playing the under in this game. It's a Game 7 in a later series, so that's where you want to look for unders, as I pointed out yesterday. Game 7s generally trend towards the under because teams just come out and they really focus on defense. It makes sense, and they don't want to like make a ton of mistakes. So it's kind of like playing the unders in Super Bowls or like early unders in Super Bowls where there's like kind of a feeling out process. Like teams don't want to take huge risks on offense, like screw things up. So I like the under in this game. It is up to 214 now. I listed it, actually, sorry, I screwed that up. 223.5. I meant 213.5 yesterday. I apologize. So it's 213.5. I think 214 you might be able to find right now. It's gone up a little bit. 81% of tickets on the over, but only 75% of the cash on the over. So I do think the more professional money is on the under here. And from the second round of the playoffs onward, the unders really, really trend towards the under, as I mentioned yesterday. In the last 38 Game 7s from the second round on, they're 28-10 to the under. So I like the under in this one, even though, yeah, I mean, the total has gone down from where it was in the first couple of games at OKC. The total was way up in like the 230s, I think, maybe for some of them, or in the 220s. Now, OKC does like to play fast, but they play good defense, and Denver's defense has been improving throughout the series. Last 2 games, they switched to this zone defense, and OKC has not figured it out, man. I mean, maybe they finally will in this game, but Denver has been playing good defense, and that is Denver's weakness really has been their defense, and that's been good for them. Now, Aaron Gordon looks like he's going to be out for this game, so as far as the under, yeah, we're going to lose his defense, but we're also going to lose his offense. So I don't know which way, that would kind of go as far as the total is concerned. I'm not as worried about that as far as the total is concerned. So I think that's about it for the handicap on the under. The one kind of hesitation you might have is that the Nuggets actually had a bad shooting performance, or excuse me, the Thunder had a bad shooting performance in the Game 6 loss at Denver. So they're certainly going to shoot better than that. So that is one worry. The one thing that might worry me, it's a little bit of an indicator that maybe we're going to get more points out of OKC in this one. But I think OKC is going to play better defense as well. So I think it kind of balances out. As far as the side is concerned, I lean to the Thunder laying the points. It's up to 8.5 now, kind of. It's probably 8s still across the board for the most part, down from 9. But 64% of tickets, 68% of the cash still on the Nuggets. So the cash percentage still on the Nuggets. But to me, I think the Nuggets are a public underdog here, man, because the public's going to look at this series and see how competitive it's been. And the Nuggets have really I think they've only covered the spread the Thunder have only covered the spread once, and that was the game that I played. I laid the points of the Thunder in game 2 after they lost game 1. I thought it was a really good bounce back spot, really come out with fire as the home team, the much better home team if you lose game 1. But then the Nuggets have been really competitive in the series otherwise. So I think the public is going to be looking at that and thinking, oh, there's value here. But I think the value is actually on the other side on the Thunder, because in the other 3 home games in the series, they've been 10.5-point favorites. And if Aaron Gordon is out, shouldn't the Thunder be even slightly more heavily favored? I mean, I don't really get it. So I think there is definitely line value with this lower line on the Thunder. And the Thunder are in kind of a bounce back spot where they're going to make some adjustments after losing that game to the Nuggets. So I think that all leans towards the Thunder as well. And it's a game 7 at home. Usually the better team gets the job done in the game 7 at home. But the hesitation with that would be that the Nuggets do have a lot of pedigree. Their players have a lot of experience. I mean, they've done this before. They won the championship 2 years ago. So they do have experience. Thunder, a little bit less experience. They really haven't made it quite this far. I mean, they were in this round last year, and they lost last year in the second round. So we'll see if they can get it done. I do think they will get it done here. But I think the experience factor might actually favor Minnesota in the next round against the Thunder. We'll see. I think Minnesota could give them some problems, man. It would not shock me if Minnesota actually winds up being in the NBA Finals at this point, which sounds kind of insane because they're a 6 seed, but they're actually way better than what they were seeded at, as the West was just kind of a cluster of teams that were kind of all in that range. Anyway, I think that's about it for this game, I guess. Although the Nuggets, the experience factor, I mean, you have to drop them a little bit, I guess, just because they're using an interim coach now, but they've been playing really well under him. It seemed like they didn't like Malone, even though he got them a championship a couple years ago. So they seem to be playing well under this coach. It's just he does not have the experience. Andrew, what's up, man? Thanks for hanging out. All right, WNBA. I don't have a play in the WNBA today, but Washington, Connecticut is kind of an interesting situation because we have a situation where one team hasn't played yet in the regular season, which is Connecticut, and Washington has already played. So I think that gives Washington an advantage because the team that's already played already has that game under their belt, whereas the other team is coming in cold. So I think that is an advantage to Washington. Make sure, am I getting that right? Let me make sure I am getting that right. I think I am. I don't pay that much attention to the WNBA, man. So, of course, I'm betting on it without paying attention. Yes, Connecticut has not played yet. Washington did, but then my hesitation with Washington would be they just beat the Atlanta Dream, and they were a huge underdog. They were an 8.5-point underdog in this game, and they won anyway, and they shot absolutely outrageously high. They shot 50.8% from the field, which is really crazy in the WNBA, and they shot 50% from three, which is also totally insane in the WNBA, and they overcame an early double-digit deficit in the game as well. So after a game like that, I don't want to play on Washington either, so I'm going to stay away. Although people that remember last year, Connecticut was one of the top teams in the WNBA, so this line also looks a little bit weird. Like, how could Connecticut be so bad that they're actually a home underdog against Washington? Well, I don't really know what's going on with the personnel, but I think that's the way that it is there. Apparently, Washington is the significantly better team. I guess it looks like Connecticut might be one of the worst teams in the WNBA this year based on that, which is kind of surprising, but there must have been some personnel changes. I don't really know. 67% of tickets, 96% of the cash on Connecticut, and the money moving, the line moving towards Connecticut. So some money is coming in on Connecticut, but I'm not sure that I would want to play a team that hasn't played yet. And then Minnesota and LA did both play already. Minnesota, I should have played that game as they beat Dallas with their new number one draft pick, Buckers, in that game. Minnesota was able to win and cover pretty easily in that game. So I was right about that game and didn't fucking play it. So I'm pissed about that. And the Sparks, I think, are coming off of an easy win over that expansion team. What are they? The Golden State Valkyries or whatever. So the Sparks are coming off an easy. Both teams are basically coming off easy wins over bad opponents. So I don't know what I would want to do with this game. Minnesota down from 5.5 to 5 with juice, but they are the better team, obviously, as they're a pretty big road favorite there. Not going to play it. Going to hockey, I am going to make a play on hockey, man. I'm going to play Florida on the money line, minus 125. I mean, they're coming off almost an unacceptable loss, man. At home is a huge favorite. They're a minus 230 favorite at home, and they lost the game after they were on a 3-game win streak. And not only did they lose, they didn't even score in the game, despite the fact that they had more shots in the game. They had way more hits. They were the way more physical team, and Toronto did win the face-off battles. They are a team that can do that, but just absolutely ridiculous if Florida got shut out. And as I pointed out yesterday with Dallas, got to win on Dallas. I've dominated that Dallas series. Oh, congratulations to Dallas, by the way, as they advanced, and they will play the Edmonton Oilers next. But I nailed that series, man. I'm mad that series is over because I played the side in 5 of the 6 games, and I went 5-0 in that series. I absolutely was on in that series. Haven't been as on in this series. I lost one of my bets on Florida. I think I won one of the bets on Florida as well, so I think I'm 1-1 with my bets in this series. But Florida was pretty much the better team in this game, man, and they just weren't able to score. But Bobrovsky didn't have the greatest game for Florida here, but after he had a couple of bad games early in the series, Bobrovsky came back and played really well after that. So I think he is going to bounce back again. I mean, he is a very good goaltender. Not as good as Anderson for Carolina, who's actually been the best goalie throughout the playoffs. But Bobrovsky is good, and when he's on, he's on. So I expect a good performance out of him in this one. I expect Florida to bounce back and be extra angry, because they just got shut out. And they are the better team, man. I have them winning the whole thing in my bracket. So when it's going to come down to a game 7 like this, I think you got to be on the better team. And Florida's the team that has a pedigree. I mean, they won the championship last year. They were in the finals the game before that, or the year before that, I should say. So Florida has way more experience, whereas Toronto, their only experience is pretty much constantly losing in the playoffs. As, by the way, Toronto has also not won a game 7 in the playoffs for 21 years. I think they haven't won one since 2004, and that includes losing to my Boston Bruins, I believe, in at least one game 7. So Toronto has not done well when it's come to the game 7. So I think when it comes to a high-pressure game like this, you want to be on the team that is used to it and knows how to do this, and that's Florida. So I think that's where we're going to go here. They have the better goaltenders still, in my opinion. I think they're the overall better team. Of course, they're favored on the road. Yes, it's going to be a ridiculous environment in Toronto because they're all about hockey in Toronto, so they're all going to go crazy. But the last time we were here, Florida won the game. But that just proves that they could do it again, man. Florida won the last game 6-1, which does mean the Leafs are probably going to be really angry about that and show up in this game. I mean, obviously, the teams are going to show up. It's a game 7. But Florida knows how to win on the road, man. So I think we're going to be good with Florida here. The line has dropped a little bit from -135 to -125, but we got 54% of tickets, 60% of the cash. So hopefully it doesn't move. Hopefully the market doesn't like shift around and wind up disagreeing with me, because I don't like disagreeing with it. So that's where we're going. We're going with Florida in that game, and I would also lean to the under just because, again, it's a Game 7, so I think you're going to get intense defense. We have 56% of tickets on the over, but 84% of the cash on the under. It's dropped from 5.5 juice to the over to now 5 juice to the over, so a fairly significant move downward towards the under. So I do also agree with the under, but under a 5, little bit dicey. If you can still get under 5.5, I think that's a little bit more preferable, because then you still get it if it's a 3-2 final. So that's the way I look at that game, but I prefer Florida, the better team in the high-pressure situation there. The more experienced team, I think, will win out. Major League Baseball, and then I'll get out of your hair. I'll get out of here. All right. Oh, sorry, I haven't zoomed in on the schedule here. All right. Houston and Texas here. I do actually have a play on this, and I'm going to go under the 8 in this game. I mean, yeah, both bullpens got a little bit of usage yesterday, but both teams have pretty good bullpens and somewhat questionable offenses, so I'm going to go with the under. Yesterday, I leaned towards the under, and it did get there. I like it again here. I mean, you got Framber Valdez pitching for Houston. He's definitely in form right now, as he has a 20-5 strikeout walk ratio this month. He's coming off a 7-1 strikeout walk ratio, 8-inning, 1-run performance against Kansas City. Allowed 1 run in each of his last 2 starts, going 15 combined innings, only allowing 9 runs over that span, and striking out 14 and only walking 3. So he is in his form right now, man. So that's good. And against Texas, he has done quite well in a massive sample size of 161 at bats. He's held him to a 199 average, and 604 OPS is a little bit high because of all the walks and home runs, but he has pretty much held Texas down, and Texas's offense still continues to kind of struggle. So I like Valdez on his side, and I like Leiter on his side. I think he's starting to kind of come into form as well here, as he's a very young pitcher. I keep making the mistake as far as who his father is. His father is Al Leiter. Al Leiter's brother, Mark Leiter Sr. His son is Mark Leiter Jr., who I believe is in the Yankees bullpen, I want to say. So Jack Leiter, Al Leiter's son. He's starting to pitch a little bit better here. He's got a 4.34 ERA and 1.21 whip, which isn't anything to write home about. And yeah, I know his walk numbers are very concerning. 10-9 strikeout walk ratio this month, but he's coming up a nice start against a weak lineup, sure, Colorado, but I think that's going to help him kind of return to form again here. And he hasn't really been that bad. He's only allowed more than 4 earned runs in 1 start. Overall, yeah, I mean, his walk number is just too high. 14 walks in 29 innings, but he's only allowed 21 hits, so he hasn't been very hittable. Strikeout rate is okay at 23, but he's a young guy. I think he has good enough stuff that he's going to start kind of coming into form here. He's shown glimpses of it, and Houston has never seen it before. So I think a guy like Leiter, as I always preach, these young pitchers that actually have something, they tend to have a little bit of an advantage over the hitters that haven't seen them before, because they have to get used to seeing them in a full game, in a real game type of environment. So we'll go under the 8 in that game. Atlanta-Boston, again, yeah, I mean, I lost on that ridiculous comeback by the Red Sox last night. Now we got Schwellenbach against Bayo. Or is it Schweyenbach against Bello? I don't know. Schwellenbach, really good this season. 1.07 whip, 3.31 ERA. I mean, he's just pitching well overall. There's really almost nothing to knock about Schwellenbach. He's had a couple of difficult starts in there, but against the Red Sox, I know it's a small sample size of 12, but they have done okay off him. A 333 average and 1,218 OPS with a Devers home run mixed in there as well. So the Red Sox, even seeing him the first time, the Red Sox actually did okay against him, so I don't really want to touch Schwellenbach here, but I don't want to touch Bayo either, and he's not sexy enough. I mean, these numbers aren't sexy. The 2.33 ERA looks sexy, but this is like kind of you put the drunk goggles on, the 2.33 ERA looks good, and then you all of a sudden you wake up the next morning next to a 1.41 whip, and you're like, oh shit, what the fuck did I just bet on? That is not what you want. A 1.41 whip is terrible, indicates that he should have a way worse ERA. This strikeout walk ratio is horrendous. 17-14. Like, are you kidding me? In 27 innings. So he's allowed fewer than 1 hit per inning. Okay, fine. 24 hits. That's good. The walk number is way too high, and he's not coming in and striking guys out either, really. So I don't trust Bayo at all, and he hasn't even made it 5 innings in each of his last 2 starts. And again, the walks have been an issue. Against Atlanta, they've actually seen him before. 46 at bats worth, 283 average, and 791 OPS. So he hasn't done particularly well against the Braves either. So I'm going to stay off of that game. I could actually see it kind of being a sneaky over in that game, but the money is coming in on the under. It's actually juiced up with a 9 with heavy juice, so a very high total in that game. But it's high for a reason, man. I mean, you're rarely going to see a total that high with a Wnba game. So I think the odds makers are telling you something, even though we do see 61% of tickets on the over, 58% of the cash coming in on the under. I would only go over in this game, and Atlanta's getting some of the money. It looks like up from -105 to -119, but we see 50% of tickets on them, 53% of the cash coming in on the Red Sox. So take from that what you will, but I think if you're going to play this game at all, I do think the over is the right way to look, and I think there's a reason why that total is so high. The odds makers know what they're doing. Next up, I'm going to go with the first 5 inning under, and yeah, you got to pay a little bit for this. Under 4.5 at -120. I mean, 4.5 I think is a very generous first 5 number for this. In Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, as the full game total sitting at 8.5. So the first 5 is actually kind of high. So I actually like this even more because I'm handicapping the starting pitching matchup. I'm actually surprised that the number's this high because, I mean, Pittsburgh has Paul Skeens on the mound. So, I mean, that's that's the number one thing about this handicap. Paul Skeens, 1.01 whip, 2.63 ERA. I mean, there's very little to dislike about Skeens, obviously. 53 to 15 strikeout walk ratio, 40 hits allowed in 54 and 2/3 innings. Very, very good numbers, obviously. And this month, he's been walking too many guys, so that's a little bit of a concern. A little bit of wildness out of Skeens this month, but I think that's kind of atypical of him, so I think we're going to see him get that under control. And against the Phillies, they have actually never seen Paul Skeens before, so that's kind of crazy. It's Skeens. Yeah, he was a rookie last year, but he never drew Philadelphia. So I think when you have a young pitcher like this, especially one who's actually one of the best pitchers in the league, like Skeens, and this lineup has never seen him before, I think that's an advantage to the pitcher. So I like Skeens here. So that's where we're going to go with the first part of this that we're looking at here. I like Skeens, even though Philadelphia does have a good offense. We're going to go with Skeens. And then on the other side, Mick Abel for Philadelphia is making his major league debut at the age of, 23? He's about to be 24 later this year. Now, if you look at Mick Abel's scouting, it's pretty good. He has a fastball that goes from anywhere from 94 to 98 miles an hour, so he can throw really hard. He's actually a really tall pitcher as well. He's like 6'5", so he's a looming presence on the mound. He's classified as dominant on the mound with both his fastball and his size, or at least height on the mound. So those are things that I like, and of course, it's his major league debut, so you're going to have these hitters that have never seen him before. They might struggle against a guy like this that can throw really hard, is an intimidating presence on the mound. I think that works in Abel's favor, and of course, he's getting a nice draw here, facing a Pittsburgh offense that isn't very good, so that's good for Abel as well. Hopefully, Pittsburgh is not Kane in this matchup here, and hopefully they don't slay Abel. If Skeens is Kane, that's okay, as long as they both do decent. Skeens could slay Abel. Hopefully they just duel it out. Hopefully it's a pitching duel here, which is what I'm going for here. Abel also has a slider, curveball, and changeup, kind of a typical arsenal, but he's considered to be a good prospect. He's considered to be forecasted as like a top of rotation starter, so that all looks good. And in AAA this year, he's been pitching pretty well as well. His ERA is in the 2s. He has a good strikeout rate. It's just, I believe his whip is a little bit high. It's like a little bit above 1.2, so slightly high. And I think it's actually mostly because I forget, I don't even want to speculate. I looked at his numbers, and I forget if it was the walks or the hits that were actually causing his whip to be that high. But overall, I like how this sets up. I think it's good. And we're going to take the bullpens out of the equation, as both bullpens, especially Pittsburgh's, got used a lot yesterday. Pittsburgh's isn't good, and Philadelphia's isn't particularly good either. So we're going to go with just the starting pitching matchup. And again, I think the number in the first 5 is actually pretty good, considering that I think the starting pitching matchup is the more under-conducive part of this game. So we're going under in the first 5 in Philadelphia. Pittsburgh. Washington was able to win yesterday. I got a win on the first 5 innings in that one, as Baltimore continues to struggle. And one thing I forgot to mention is Baltimore actually fired their manager coming into that game, and it still didn't spark them. So luckily I wasn't considering that really, because when a team fires their coach or manager, I actually tend to like to play on that team because it can spark the team, but that is not what happened to Baltimore. Baltimore cannot get it done right now, man. But I think this might be the spot where Baltimore might actually be able to do it, as they're actually a minus 189 favorite, up from minus 160. 75% of tickets, 87% of the cash. Who is going to want to come in and play Baltimore? Play Baltimore and lay a ridiculous price like this with a team that's struggling as much as Baltimore is? I wouldn't want to. I mean, it's ridiculous. But there are reasons for it, and it's mostly that I think Eflin is actually a pretty good starter. I mean, most of Baltimore's starting rotation is awful, and since Eflin has come back in, I think Eflin might actually be maybe their best starter. I think I actually bet on him in his return, and I think I actually did get a win on that one. He's up against Soraka here. Soraka coming off a pretty big game where I played the under in this game. I think it hit for me against his former team, Atlanta, which that was his first time, I believe, facing his former team in Atlanta. So I think he was pumped up for that. He pitched okay, but he's a guy who's going to give you 4 to 5 innings, not going to pitch really extensively, I don't think. And he's been okay this season. More than one strikeout per inning, low walk rate, 15-4 in 14 innings, 14 hits allowed. Definitely a serviceable pitcher, although the numbers overall don't look good with a 6.43 ERA, 1.29 whip. But if you look at just game by game on the game log, it doesn't look that horrendous. So he's not that bad, but he is mostly, I think, kind of a reliever that they're kind of just having to throw into the rotation right now. Against Baltimore, his numbers have been bad, with 12 at-bats against them, 417 average, 1,283 OPS. So Soraka has not done well against Baltimore in a limited sample size. Zach Eflin is definitely the more proven starter here, and he's off to a good start to this season, a late start after he came back from injury. 3.13 ERA, 0.96 whip. Nice numbers there. 13-3 strikeout walk ratio. 19 hits allowed in 23 innings. So he doesn't allow a lot of hits, doesn't put a lot of men on base, doesn't walk guys, but he's not a huge strikeout guy either. So that's what you're going to get out of Eflin. My one issue here is I'd be looking to play Baltimore, to be honest, because, again, nobody's going to want to be on Baltimore at this heavy a price. Like, what the hell is going on with this line here with a team that seems like they can't win a game at all? So normally I would say, yeah, I want to be on Baltimore. They're trying to avoid a sweep, which is usually a motivational spot as well. Having just fired their manager, they might actually show up motivated here as well, even though they weren't in the first game. But then Eflin, I just can't quite do it because he has a 57 at-bat sample size against Washington, and they have hit 316 off him with a 784 OPS, so that worries me a little bit. Even though he does have a 13-0 strikeout walk ratio against them, I can't quite come in on that one. I would probably still lean to Baltimore and maybe just lay a full game run line on them or something in that game, but I can't quite do it. Detroit and Toronto, I think this is the rubber match in this series. Job is pitching for Detroit, and he is starting to become wild. He's walked too many guys. 4.32 ERA is all right, but 1.47 whip is not all right. And he walked 5 guys in his last outing against the Red Sox. Still limited the damage to 1 run on a home run. Somehow 5 walks. Somehow that did not come to bite him. I don't know how that was the case, but Job, I mean, his strikeout walk ratio is awful. 27-20. I mean, that is not good at all. He's walking, 20 walks in 33 1/3 innings. I mean, that is really bad. He's putting way too many men on base, but Barrios, on the other hand, hasn't been great either. 4.33 ERA, 1.42 whip. He's walked 8 guys over the last two starts as well, so that's not good either. So Barrios, I don't think is trustworthy either, so I worry about both starters here. Job has never been seen before by Toronto, so he does have that edge, I guess, going for him that the hitters haven't seen him before. Barrios up against Detroit actually does have good numbers. In 66 at-bats, 19-2 strikeout walk ratio, 212 average, 599 OPS. So very, very tough, man, because both pitchers are in bad form, but both pitchers might have a little bit of a matchup edge here, so I don't know which way I would want to go in this game at all, man. I don't even know if I want to give a lean out on this. We do see Toronto being an anti-public favorite, though, with 84% of tickets, only 72% of the cash on Detroit. Barrios Toronto up from -110 to -126. So probably, just based on the market read, I guess probably the way you want to look in this game is to the Toronto side. Whenever you have a home favorite that the public is actually fading, that usually is a good situation to look for. Detroit, of course, has the way better record, but they're definitely better at home than they are on the road. So probably lean to Toronto there. Barrios, I think, is at least the more proven starter, and he has the more proven numbers there. And I think his numbers this year are going to get better. So that's probably the way that I would look there. As Job is much more of a wild card. Cleveland and Cincinnati, you got Luis Ortiz, not with great numbers this year, 4.78 ERA, 1.36 whip. Not pitching really that well. Way too many walks, really. A high walk rate. Against Cincinnati, though, he's been good in 37 at-bats, a 162 average against them, 421 OPS. And yes, I know he's now having to go to Great American Ballpark, which I think that's actually maybe not that bad for Ortiz because he is actually used to pitching in this ballpark because he used to be on Pittsburgh. And that means two things. It does mean that Cincinnati's hitters have seen him before, but as we can see here, that hasn't really mattered. He's actually done well against them. But I looked at his track record at Great American Ballpark. He's made one start there each of the last 3 seasons, and he had 2 good starts and 1 bad start. And his 2 good starts, I think he only allowed 1 earned run combined across those 2 starts. So he actually has not been that bad pitching at this hitter-friendly Great American Ballpark. So I actually don't mind Ortiz in that game. Andrew Abbott is the better pitcher, I would say, in general. Has the much better numbers this year, 2.1 ERA, 1.07 whip. But up against Cleveland in 16 at-bats, it hasn't been great for him. 312 average, 812 OPS. So even though, he is definitely pitching really well overall, and he's in very good form right now. So I don't really know that I want to fade Abbott just because he's pitching really well as of late and well this season as well. So I don't quite want to fade Abbott here, but I think Cleveland is the way to look in this game as they're looking to avoid the sweep. So that's one motivating factor here. And the other the other factor is that I think they have the pitching matchup edge here, as I just showed you, with Ortiz seemingly matching up better against Cincinnati's bats than Abbott does. I think Cleveland probably has the better of the 2 bullpens as well. And Cincinnati, I don't think their offense is actually really that good. So slight lean to Cleveland in that game for those reasons. Let's look at what the market is doing in that one. Well, the money is disagreeing with me, I guess, as it's flipping Cincinnati from plus 100 to minus 122 with 60% of tickets and cash on them, but I don't really agree with that move. Earlier, I saw some of the cash coming back on the Cleveland side. We'll see if that does happen, but based on my handicapping, I would lean to Cleveland. Henny, what's up, man? My thoughts are the fuck you, but also that is true. The Red Sox, obviously, they're terrible. I mean, what do you... there's no way around that. Their management is terrible right now. Like, the general management is terrible. I don't think Core is a good manager at all. I mean, they're one of the worst fielding teams in baseball. They can't do anything right, man. And what do you want? The Yankees have a way better offense. Red Sox, actually, the Yankees are just better all around. I mean, the Red Sox pitching is terrible, too. Red Sox basically have nobody outside of Crochet. And, they do have a few good hitters, but a lot of these hitters have their heads up their own ass, like Devers, and now you got Casas is injured. They have way too many injuries, man. That's what I try to do, man. I'm not going to lie. I'll keep it real. Thanks for watching, man. But obviously, I am a fan of the Red Sox. I like the Red Sox. I hate the Yankees. I don't like what's going on here, but obviously, the Red Sox look like they're going to be bad for a long fucking time right now because they've really, really just, it seems like they've pretty much wrecked this organization for a long time at this point with the management decisions that they've made, the ownership decisions and whatever. I mean, you're looking at a team that won the World Series in 2018, and the only guy they have left who was on that team is Devers. They don't have anybody else left from that team. Trading away Mookie Betts was a terrible decision. I mean, he's one of the best hitters in baseball. Absolutely ridiculous decision. I hate all that. But one thing I will say, Henny, is who has more World Series wins, though, over the last 21 years? That's what I will ask you. We got 4 for the Boston Red Sox, baby, and I think the Yankees only have 1, so at least we can hold on to that. All right. Let's... what game am I talking about? Tampa, Miami? I mean, come on, man. Yeah, that's right. The Boston Red Sox, kid. The Sox. Got to go to the Sox game, kid. What do you want to do? Got to go to Fenway Park. Got to pack in the garage. All right. Tampa, Miami. I mean, you got Shane Baz and Cal Quantrill here. I don't like this pitching matchup. 5.02 ERA, 1.33 whip for Baz. I mean, His numbers overall are still not that bad, though. If you just kind of look at, the strikeout walk ratio, 46-16, that's pretty good. He's been damaged by some home runs here. He has fewer than one hit per inning. So looking at his stats without looking at his ERA and WHIP, they actually don't look that bad. He definitely has been knocked around as of late. Had a couple of really bad starts in there against KC and Philadelphia. Actually, wasn't that great in this game against Toronto either. So he's not in good form right now. The Marlins have only seen him for 6 at-bats, and they're 1 for 6 off him with 4 home runs. 167 average, 452 OPS. So Boz at least has done well against Miami, and they're a pretty weak-hitting team. And then the same kind of goes for Cal Quantrill, who is not a good pitcher at all. 7 ERA, 1.64 WHIP. I mean, yeah, obviously he is not a good pitcher. 23-13 strikeout walk ratio. The walk rate is actually tolerable. It's just the number of hits is ridiculous. 46 hits in 36 innings. Not good at all. And he doesn't strike guys out. He's getting knocked around. He's only gone more than 5 innings twice since April 13th. So that's not good either. And against Tampa, though, he actually has been good in 22 at-bats. Even though the 6 walks versus 2 strikeouts is definitely bad, but 182 average, only 1 extra base hit allowed, a triple from Diaz. 182 average allowed, 630 OPS. So you have a situation here where you have 2 starters who suck, but they actually have decent matchup numbers against these offenses, and these offenses are actually bad. So this could be kind of a sneaky under look in this game, to be honest. As crazy as that sounds, I mean, I think that might be the way that I would lean here, but I'm certainly not going to play it, and the market is disagreeing with me as the total is up from 8.5 to 8.5, juiced to the over. 84% of tickets, 93% of the cash coming in the over. But again, for the reasons that I just stated, I actually think an under may be worth a look in this game. You do have to look at what the bullpen usage was yesterday, though, which I think wasn't very significant. No, it wasn't. So that kind of lends itself towards an under as well, as both bullpens didn't get a ton of usage yesterday. So that's what I think about that game. Next up, I'm going to have a play that is one of these plays where it's going to be a total mind fuck. And this is the one, this is maybe the most anti-public play or anti-recency bias play that you could possibly find out there. And it's going to be the Milwaukee Brewers -1 on the run line because you want to get this price down. This is another situation kind of like the Baltimore one where you have a team that looks like there's no way they should be favored by this much, as the team that they're facing has been really, really hot recently. Looks way better than they do. And it's like, well, how is this team that much of a favorite? Well, I'll explain that in a minute, but we're going to go Milwaukee here. And instead of laying more juice to play the money line or whatever, we can knock it down to a -1 run line at -113. That's the way I'm going to do it. And then if they win by 1, yeah, the bet will push, but it's a little bit more risk averse, kind of like playing Pai Gow poker. So I'm going to fade Minnesota, though, man. I'm stepping in front of this train finally. I think this is finally the spot where you want to actually do this. And maybe we'll get totally run over by this train. I don't know. But Minnesota's won 13 games in a row. So looking at this, it's like who in their right mind is going to be on this below 500 Brewers team against this Minnesota team that hasn't lost in 2 weeks and has a really, really good record? Well, still, dive a little bit deeper here and you see, well, okay, for one thing, the Twins actually aren't as good on the road. They're below 500 on the road. Milwaukee's above 500 at home, so that's good. So we have that going for us with Milwaukee. Minnesota not only is looking for a sweep here, so Milwaukee should be extra motivated to avoid the sweep here, but not only are they on the verge of getting swept, but they've been outscored 10-0 in the series. Milwaukee hasn't even scored in the series. That's ultra embarrassing. So I think that's an even greater motivator on the Milwaukee side, as they haven't even scored a run in the series. So they're going to be really pissed, in my opinion. And Minnesota's coming off 3 straight shutout performances, which I don't think that's going to happen again in this game, needless to say, which we're going to talk about the pitching matchup in a second. Milwaukee, yes, I understand their bullpen is bad. Minnesota has the better bullpen. Milwaukee has the better offense, though, which I think kind of negates that a little bit. Minnesota's hitting is definitely worse than Milwaukee's. Milwaukee did use a decent amount of their bullpen yesterday, but they didn't use any of their best arms out of the bullpen because they were getting trounced in the game. So they just kind of used innings eaters for the most part. Whereas Minnesota, they used maybe a couple of their better relievers, I would say, although not even really because they were ahead in the game. So I think the bullpen situation isn't that bad for Milwaukee coming into this game. They at least have some of their better relievers available. And then looking at the starting pitching matchup, Zebby Matthews is pitching. And yes, I know there are some qualities about him that would lead me to want to actually look in his direction because he is a young pitcher, and I believe Milwaukee has never seen him before, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that is one thing going for Zebby Matthews, is he is a prospect in Minnesota's organization. He is projected to be a pretty good pitcher, and Milwaukee has never seen him before. That's all good, but that didn't help him out when he pitched last year, man. He made 9 starts. He had a 6.69 ERA and 1.65 whip. That is not good. His strikeout-walk ratio was good, though, so that does tell you he was delivering in some aspects. His command was there in some respects. He had more than 1 strikeout per inning, 43-11 strikeout-walk ratio. The walk rate was okay, but he allowed way too many hits, 51 hits in 37 2/3. He was way too hittable. So, yes, that is definitely correctable, but I don't know if he's going to be that good right away, just being thrown right into the fire like this. Whereas on the other side, we get basically the only good starter in the Milwaukee rotation. Although I do actually like some of the young guys, as I pointed out recently. I do actually like Henderson and Chad Patrick, so I have kind of made some plays on those guys. But Freddie Peralta is the real deal, man. 2.66 ERA, 1.07 whip. He has a 0.47 home ERA this year, which is totally insane. And yeah, I know that's unsustainable. It's only across a few starts, but he is really, really doing it at home. He's doing it overall as well. Pitching fine this month. He's coming off an okay start, not great against Cleveland, but that was on the road. He walked 3 guys. I think he'll return to form, though. And over the course of the season, that was actually his worst start of the season, even though it wasn't even that bad. That was the only time he allowed more than 3 earned runs in a start. And he's only done that once. And almost all of his other... How many starts has he made this season? Because he's only allowed 3 or more earned runs in 2 starts this entire season in 9 starts. So 7 starts, he's allowed 2 or fewer. Obviously, he's pitching well. I don't think I need to say that much more about that. And against Minnesota in 31 at-bats, he has 10 strikeouts, 2 walks. Yeah, Bader has a home run off him, but 7 strikeouts, 1 walk there. And he's held him to a 161 average, 502 OPS. So I like Milwaukee here. That's where we're going here. I'm going to stick with the more trustworthy starter in Freddie Peralta. I mean, if you do want to go first 5 and not want to worry about Milwaukee's bullpen, I don't hate that either. First 5 innings, Milwaukee, you might be able to get probably about a -0.5 run line, and you probably have to pay a little bit of juice for it, though. So I like this way better, in my opinion, the full game. And I think Milwaukee's going to be motivated to do it and to avoid the sweep here. So I think we are going to get a full game effort out of them. All right. St. Louis, Kansas City, Liberatore against Walker. Liberatore has been really, really good this season. I think he's still kind of under the radar. Like, people still have not caught on to how good this guy actually is. 3.11 ERA, 1.01 whip, 42-7 strikeout walk ratios. Really, really good. Very low walk rate. He's definitely out there delivering. He's got command. Fewer than 1 hit allowed per inning as well. Almost 1 strikeout per inning. He allowed 3 earned runs and 5 earned runs in his first 2 starts. And then since then, 2 or fewer earned runs in every start since then. He's coming off a decent performance against Philadelphia. Not his best, but he still was able to limit the damage, and they still won the game. Against Kansas City, though, he actually hasn't done as well. 18 at-bats, 278 average, 825 OPS, but I will throw a caveat around that, and that is that just like what I was talking about with some of these other pitchers, that when you have a pitcher that's this young and they struggled in their first couple of seasons, and you look at their pitching stats against the opposing lineup here, that was back then when this pitcher was struggling a little bit more. Well, this pitcher is way better now, so I don't know if these numbers really apply now. So I think you got to weigh, kind of these matchup stats a little bit less in a situation like that. So it doesn't mean that all of a sudden that, Liberatore is just terrible against Kansas City. He has been not great against them in the past, but he is very much improved since then. I don't think Kansas City has faced him since he's been this good. They haven't faced him this year. Michael Walker, on the other hand, he's facing his former team here, but of course he already has faced them before. But maybe he gets a little bit pumped up every time he faces St. Louis. I don't know. He's definitely still getting the job done, even though he's not a hard thrower. He comes in and he's still able to get guys out. 2.96 ERA, 1.2 whip. Not bad stats there. Fewer than 1 hit per inning. Pretty low walk rate. He just doesn't strike out a lot of guys. 37-16 strikeout walk ratio. 46 hits allowed in 51 2/3 innings pitched. pitching pretty well this month as well with a 2.29 ERA, 11-4 strikeout walk ratio, fewer than 1 hit per inning. He's in good form here, but against St. Louis, maybe he doesn't actually get pumped up against them because they have pumped him up in 80 at-bats. They've hit 7 home runs off. And by the way, if you want to look for player props, as I always say, hits plus runs plus RBIs is the better way to go because total bases, a walk actually kind of ruins the at-bat for you as you don't get anything for total bases from a walk. So you want to go hits plus runs plus RBIs. And Arenado is 9 for 19 with 4 home runs off of walk. I hear with 3 walks and 2 strikeouts. So he does a lot of damage. Overall, St. Louis has 7 home runs off him, 16-7 strikeout walk ratio, 300 average and 956 OPS. So Waka actually has bad numbers against them too. And I think there is more weight to be lent to Waka's numbers here. So I would lean to St. Louis here. I think Liberatore is the better starter. They've flipped from a plus 109 dog to a minus 109 favorite. 56% of the cash coming in on them, 58% of tickets on Kansas City, slight lean to St. Louis. I do think St. Louis probably has a slightly better hitting as well. So I think that is a lean there. I don't have a play on it, but that's an opinion. White Sox and Cubs here, of course, the White Sox are trying to avoid being swept here. No surprise there. Jonathan Cannon will take the mound here. And I think he last pitched out of the bullpen not that long ago. I think it must have been this outing. I think he came out of the bullpen. They had some opener pitch 1 inning, and then Cannon came in and pitched 6 innings. And he actually pitched well, even though it was at Great American Ballpark, a great hitting ballpark. He had no walks, 6 strikeouts in 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs allowed. Really nice performance from Cannon. He's got a nice looking 3.6 ERA, but a 1.36 whip kind of tells you that not all is good here. But he's not a terrible pitcher. 39-17 strikeout walk ratio. Not great. I mean, it is too many walks. He doesn't strike out that many guys. 1 more hit than innings pitched is not really that bad. So he's been okay. And against the Cubs, only Brujan has ever faced him before, and he's 1 for 2 off him with a double and an RBI and a strikeout. So there's really not a whole lot to garner from that, but he is up against it here as he is facing a very good hitting Chicago Cubs lineup here. So I don't know what we're going to expect out of Cannon here. The total being at 7.5 in this game indicates that we're getting wind blowing in at Wrigley here. Again, like I said, Wrigley, the wind conditions are crazy, where if the wind is blowing out, you'll see a total of about 9.5 usually, and if it's blowing in, it could be as low as 7.5. It's just insane. 7.5 with a pitching matchup like this is crazy. And Colin Ray on the other side, he's got good numbers here. 2.48 whip, or 2.48 ERA, excuse me. Whip would be terrible. 1.21 whip. None of this is really that bad, but he's not he doesn't have a high strikeout rate, but he doesn't put a lot of guys on base, so he's pretty effective. Comes in, nothing flashy, gets the job done, doesn't strike out a lot of guys. Kind of walking too many guys as of late. A 10-6 strikeout walk ratio this month. Overall, his walk number, 9 walks, 29-9. If it was 29-10, it would actually look a lot worse just mentally over that double-digit threshold. So I think he's an okay pitcher, but I don't think he's going to continue to pitch as well as he has been. Against the White Sox, he's done well, though, as their hitting isn't good. 22 at-bats, 136 average, 422 OPS. So there are some reasons why the total is that low in that game. One of the reasons is that Chicago, the White Sox, can't hit at all. So we will see what happens there. A's at San Francisco in the Battle of the Bay. Jeffrey Springs is pitching for the A's. Not good numbers overall. 4.27 ERA, 1.38 whip. Pitching decently this month, though, with a 1.5 ERA. 9-5 strikeout walk ratio, though. Not great. He just doesn't strike guys out, but he hasn't allowed a lot of hits either. 13 in the last 18 innings. Fewer than 1 hit per innings pitched overall, but kind of high walk number overall. 36-21 strikeout walk ratio is pretty bad. Too many walks, doesn't strike guys out. But I get San Francisco in 23 at-bats. Only 3 of them have seen him before, but he's done pretty well against them. A 130 average and a 428 OPS, so not bad for Springs. Up against him will be Justin Verlander, who is starting to pitch better after a really rocky start to the season here. He's an old guy at this point, 42, but his last several starts have actually been pretty effective. Going back to April 20th, that game against Anaheim, he's allowed 3 or fewer earned runs in every start and 2 or fewer in all but 1. He's gone 6 innings in all but 1 of them as well, which was a game against the Cubs on the road. Very difficult assignment there, and he still pitched decently in that game against one of the best lineups in baseball. So I think Verlander is actually still pitching fairly effectively, to be honest. 4.31 ERA, 1.35 whip isn't good, but that's kind of skewed by those early season starts that weren't that good. Against the A's, he has good numbers overall. 63 at-bats, 20-5 strikeout walk ratio, 206 average, 598 OPS. Of course, you got to put a little bit less weight into that because Verlander is worse now than he was when he was putting up those numbers, but a lot of those numbers are still fairly recent. So I think Verlander actually still has a little bit of something there. So my lean in this game would be to the under. We do see 67% of the tickets on the over, 54% of the cash on the under. So I do think the money looks like it is coming in on the under. Cash percentage does agree with me on that. It's sitting at 8.5 juice to the under, so it's a reasonable total on that one to go under as well. Second to last play, I'm going right back to the well, and I'm going to play the Dodgers again on the run line, man. Fuck everything. -1.5. You can get it down to -115. I know, as I keep saying, whenever I play these run lines, yeah, you're not supposed to do it with the home team because the home team, if they're winning, they won't get the final inning of at-bats in the 9th inning. But, yeah, I lost yesterday, but they lost the game outright. And with the Dodgers, it's like they either win by margin or they lose outright. So not a lot of in-between there, and that was especially the case last year. But I think this is a good spot to play the Dodgers. I know I said that yesterday, and I loved how it's set up yesterday. But I think the setup today is actually good as well. So I think we have to go back to the well and try it again. By the way, the Dodgers did out-hit Anaheim yesterday. They still lost the game. They out-hit them 16-13 and still lost the game. So it was a very inefficient hitting performance, and that's what we've seen out of the Dodgers. The first game of the series, they hit into 5 double plays, so even though they've lost the first 2 games of the series, they've actually out-hit Anaheim in both games in the series, so the Dodgers clearly are the better team, and I think they're going to be able to get it done here, because now they're probably extra pissed because they're trying to avoid the sweep, and both losses in the series have been pretty misleading. Of course, as I already said, the Dodgers have the better bullpen and the better hitting, and yesterday both bullpens were involved fairly extensively, so I think that still helps out the Dodgers. They just have some better arms in their bullpen, and the offense is certainly way better on the side of the Dodgers. Kershaw just really did not hold up his end of the bargain yesterday, but now we got Kikuchi pitching for Anaheim, and I don't think this is a good thing. 3.72 ERA looks pretty good, but a 1.47 whip indicates something is wrong here. He's walking too many guys, and yeah, he's in decent form right now over his last 3 starts in the month of May. 15-4 strikeout walk ratio, that's pretty good. Hasn't allowed more than 200 runs in any start. So yeah, he is in pretty good form, but overall, way too many walks. 43-22 strikeout walk ratio. He's allowed 7 home runs. None of that is really good. More than 1 hit per inning as well, so that's not good. 49 and 48 in the 3rd inning, so a lot to dislike about Kikuchi here. And the team has only they've won 3 games that he started, but 2 of those were his last 2 starts. Yes, I know he was in better form in those 2 starts, but prior to that, they'd only won 1 of his other starts. So they're still 3-6 in his starts, which is still not good. And by the way, 2 of those 3 games that they've won behind him have been at home. He is significantly worse on the road. If you look at his splits are ridiculous. He seems to be way more comfortable at home, even though I know he's just down the road from home here, but it's still a road game. He has a 1.65 ERA at home this year and 4.78 on the road. So he has been a lot worse on the road, significantly worse. 238 opponent batting average at home and 274 opponent batting average on the road as well. So significantly worse numbers for Kikuchi on the road. And then against the Dodgers, they can hit pretty well. And they've hit him pretty well. They've seen him a lot, 94 at-bats. Yeah, kind of a lot of strikeouts, 21 to 7 walks, but they've hit 298 off him with an 878 OPS. So they've done damage to Kikuchi. So that's good. And then Gonsolin, on the other hand, for the Dodgers, has been pitching pretty well. He's come back from injury here. And last time he pitched, I think, was before this year. I think he hadn't pitched since 2023, and he didn't have a great 2023. But prior to that, he was actually a pretty good pitcher. So he's seemingly trying to return to form here, and it hasn't been bad for him so far. 2.81 ERA this year, 1.06 whip. That's all pretty good. 21-4 strikeout walk ratio, really nice ratio. Well over one strikeout per inning, and fewer than one hit per inning. That's 13 hits allowed in 16 innings pitched. He's pitched well. Granted, yes, 2 of the 3 starts were against Miami, so we do have to dial it back a little bit because Miami sucks, but he's coming off a pretty nice performance at Arizona as well. And Arizona is a team that hits well, and that's a hitter-friendly park. And he did walk a couple of guys, but he did go 5 shutout innings in that game, so that's fairly impressive. And against Anaheim, he's stepping back down in class here because Arizona's offense is way more lethal than Anaheim's is. Even though Anaheim scored a lot of runs so far in this series, especially last night, I think that we're going to see a regression here as Anaheim's offense is not that good. 42 at-bats for Gonsolin against Anaheim. They're only 9 for 42 off him. And yeah, by the way, Soleil is 2 for 2 with 2 home runs off him, or Solar. So if you want to look for hitter props there, hits plus runs plus RBIs, Solar, 2 for 2 with 2 home runs and a walk against Gonsolin. But other than that, I mean, his numbers overall are really good against Anaheim. 214 average, 671 OPS. So I like all of that for the Dodgers. So we're going to go right back to the well and do it again. Dodgers run line. Then we got Colorado, Arizona. I mean, what do you even want in this game? Dollander is pitching for Colorado. He's a young pitcher, and his numbers are awful. 6.88 ERA, 1.47 whip. I mean, this is his rookie campaign, though, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a break. And he's had some good starts in there. I mean, he has a decent strikeout rate of almost 1 per inning. He's walking too many guys. 32-16 strikeout walk ratio, not that great. He's allowed 9 home runs, which is pretty bad. But, I mean, you're pitching in Coors Field, so that's going to hurt you. If you're putting too many balls in the air, you're going to allow home runs. So he's got to kind of fix that. And it's not going to help that he's playing at Arizona here, which is also a home run-friendly park. But he's allowed exactly 1 hit per inning, which isn't that bad. And Arizona's never seen him before, so at least he has that going for him as a young pitcher that does at least have some decent strikeout stuff. It's possibly has a little bit of an edge against Arizona, but it hasn't really helped them that much so far this season in some of these games. Merrill Kelly is pitching for Arizona. He's got good numbers this year, man. He's a veteran. He knows what he's doing. 3.71 ERA, 1.06 whip. That's all pretty good. 41-12 strikeout walk ratio is pretty nice. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but he doesn't put a lot of guys on base. Low walk rate, fewer than 1 hit per inning, 42 and 51 innings. Kind of a grinder. He goes out there and gives you around 6 innings for the most part when he goes out there. This month, really nice, 16-0 strikeout walk ratio. Not allowing more than 3 earned runs in any start, and that was against a pretty hard-hitting Mets team. And it hasn't been easy. His other 2 games have been on the road at Philly and San Francisco, and he gave up only 1 earned run in both of those starts. So Kelly is in pretty decent recent form, decent recency. And against Colorado, this weak hitting lineup of theirs, he's been pretty good against them in 99 at-bats, 30-6 strikeout walk ratio, 192 average allowed, 592 OPS. So Kelly has done well. So, I mean, Arizona's a massive favorite for a reason here. I don't know if you could trust Dollander, but it could maybe be a sneaky look to the under in this game, even though we do see 81% of tickets on the over, 99% of the cash on the over. Total sitting at 9 because it is a hitter-friendly park here. It's actually down a little bit from 9 juice to the over at -120 to 9 juice to the over at -113. Consensus number at least here. If Dollander is able to kind of key into that, the fact that the hitters have never seen him before and he actually can pull out a decent start here, you could actually maybe sneakily see this game go under, but I wouldn't trust the bullpens at all. Neither bullpen is good, so if you do want to go that way, the first 5 inning under might be the way to look in that game. My final play is an under, but it almost looks too obvious, but it's under 7.5, and you do have to pay a little bit of juice for this at -120 for Seattle, San Diego. I mean, this almost looks too obvious. I mean, you have the 2 teams that have the most pitcher-friendly parks in baseball. Yes, both offenses have been okay. San Diego's is actually pretty good, but I like this pitching matchup. You have 2 really talented pitchers on the mound here. You got a pitcher-friendly park. The total is low for a reason, and I would try to get the under 7.5 if you can, because, again, in baseball, these odd numbers are the key numbers in baseball because that's the run that you need to break the tie. So under 7.5, having to pay -120 for it, I mean, that's I think it's still reasonable to do that. If you find under 7 and you get it, plus money. I mean, that's fine as well. It'll just push. So it's a little more risk averse, I guess, but it will push if the game lands 7. But if it goes well over this, then you're actually doing yourself a favor by paying less for it. But I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. It's going to go under. Yeah, I mean, both bullpens have seen a little bit of usage here, but both bullpens are good. San Diego has one of the top bullpens in baseball. Seattle's is not that bad either. And hopefully we don't get much bullpen usage in this game because I think both starters can give us deep starts in this game. Brian Wu is pitching for the Mariners. Really, really good stuff. 2.84 ERA, 0.89 whip. I mean, you know me, I bet on Wu games a lot, either under or on Wu. I mean, his numbers are just really, really awesome. 50-8 strikeout walk ratio is crazy, and 50 2/3 innings. Only 37 hits allowed, and only 4 home runs allowed. All of that is very, very excellent for Wu. Really great strikeout walk ratio. He actually has some of the best numbers in all of baseball. He's got a 20-1 strikeout walk ratio this month, and he had to face the A's on the road, which, yeah, he gave up 5 runs in that game, which is a little bit concerning, but that was at that A's really hitter-friendly park, and he still had a 6-1 strikeout walk ratio in that game, so that wasn't even that bad of a start. And then drew another tough assignment against the Yankees and shut them out for 6 1/3 innings and didn't walk anybody, so he's been really, really good. He's been in form pretty much all season, so there's nothing to really dislike about any of this. And against the Padres, 21 at-bats, he's held him to an 0.95 average, even though, yes, both hits he's allowed are home runs to Sheets and Tatis Jr., but overall, 0.095 batting average against and 517 OPS. So Wu has really good numbers against San Diego. Michael King, on the other side, also has a below 1 whip. So we have 2 starters with below 1 whips here, and ERAs in the 2s. 2.32 ERA for King, 0.99 whip. If you had asked me last year, I probably would have said Dylan Cease is the Padres' ace, but right now I think it is Michael King. He's pitching well. I mean, yeah, he's gotten a little bit out of form recently, but one of his starts this month was at the Yankees, so that's not an easy draw. And he pitched okay, 6 innings, 2 earned runs allowed. Only 2 strikeouts is the one bad thing about that start. With 2 walks, yeah, he's allowed 2 walks in each of his last 2 starts. I mean, he's not a walk-free guy. He does issue some free passes. He's a little bit wild, but he throws really hard. He strikes guys out. So I think he is going to start returning to form. I mean, his last start, he did strike out 8 guys against Anaheim. Even though he didn't go as deep into it, still limited them to only 2 earned runs there with the 2 walks, 4 hits allowed in 5 2/3 innings. Not a horrible start from him. So he is pitching well overall. 56 strikeouts to 16 walks. All of that's good. Only 5 home runs allowed and only 34 hits allowed in 50 1/3 innings. So very high strikeout rate. Nice strikeout walk ratio because the strikeout rate is so high. And fewer than 1 hit per inning significantly. So both starters kind of similar. King is the better strikeout pitcher. And then the matchup numbers against Seattle, 56 at-bats, 18-4 strikeout walk ratio. Arozarena does have a home run off him, but other than that, not a whole lot of damage. 214 average against and 588 OPS. So I like how this sets up for both starters here. So under. It looks too obvious, but under, I think, is the play here. We got 61% of tickets on the under in this game, but 74% of the cash on the under. So I don't know that the public is really getting that involved in a game like this. They usually don't play unders, but it does look like the actual money is in agreement on this on the under. It's gone from 7.5 juice to the under, which is kind of where I'm at right now, down to 7 juice to the over, so a slight tick downward. That is the way to look in this game, in my opinion. I mean, obviously, because I'm playing it. And then the final game I'm not playing in Mets-Yankees, which is the ESPN night game. David Peterson on the hill for the Mets. I mean, again, I'm continuing to expect regression out of this guy because his 1.35 whip is really not good. 3.05 ERA, of course, is good, but you can't keep walking guys like this and getting away with it. I mean, how is this guy getting away with it? Last 2 starts, he walked 7 guys in 12 innings. I mean, you can't keep getting away with this, but he only allowed 9 hits, and he struck out 13 over that span, so his strikeout numbers are pretty good. 43 strikeouts overall in 44 1/3 innings. That's not bad. 44 hits allowed, not that bad, but the walk number is bad. 16 walks. I mean, that's too many walks. Again, the wildness, and it's been worse recently, is, again, 7 walks over those last 2 starts. Isn't exactly good, but against the Yankees, small sample size, but he actually has done well against them. 14 at-bats, 143 average, 393 OPS. And yeah, I know Max Fried is in there and is 0 for 1 off him, so we could throw him out of there. But even if you take him out, it's still pretty good numbers for Peterson against the Yankees, so I hesitate to actually want to fade him here. And Max Fried on the other side here is having an elite season, 1.11 whip, 0.9 or 1.11 ERA. That's even better. 0.94 whip. I mean, he's basically been almost mistake-free this entire season, allowing no more than 2 earned runs in any start this entire season. 52-13 strikeout walk ratio, so a little bit below 1 strikeout per inning, but that's still good. 40 hits in 56 2/3 innings. That's good. Only 3 home runs allowed, 13 walks allowed. Nothing to dislike about what Fried has done so far, although I'll throw a caveat in there that he's only faced a couple of good offenses, and one was that opening day start against or his first game at least against Milwaukee. I think it was actually probably opening day. Didn't do well in that game. He did put a lot of guys on base in that game and kind of escaped with 2 earned runs. Usually I'll give a guy a pass, though, at their first start of the season, but that was one of the only good lineups that he's faced this entire season. He did do well against Detroit. They're a pretty good lineup, and against San Diego, I guess they're pretty good. But other than that, he's faced Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Tampa twice, Toronto, and Seattle. So those are not very good hitting lineups. So he hasn't really faced like the top offenses yet. The Mets are the best offenses that he's going to have faced so far this season. So I'm going to have to dial it back a little bit on Fried here. So he is stepping up in class to face this Mets offense. And the other thing is the Mets are very familiar with him because guess what? Fried was in their division. Fried was on the Braves for a while, so the Mets are absolutely familiar with him. So if we see one of his worst performances of the season, which, by the way, I mean, he's pitched so well this season, his worst performance of the season is still going to probably be okay. So I think it actually is kind of likely that we might see actually one of his worst performances in this game. But even in that huge sample size, he actually has done fairly well against the Mets in 194 at-bats, 242 average allowed, 642 OPS. So he has done well against them, but they are very familiar with him. So Peterson is actually the more unfamiliar pitcher to these opposing hitters as well. So I do think that there is some value on the Mets side here, given all that I just said. The money is actually looking like it is coming in on the Mets at that kind of decent underdog price there. Yankees down from -160 to -154. 85% of tickets, 70% of the cash. So more of the ticket percentage than the cash on the Yankees here. These teams have split the games of the series so far 1-1. Public is almost always going to be on the Yankees, man. Even though the Mets are a public team this year, the Yankees are one of the most public teams in baseball, so that's where the public is going to go. They know Max Fried. They see what his numbers look like this year, which I think is why the price is so high. You're basically having to pay the Yankee tax and the Fried tax here. I think the value is in going against him, though, for all the reasons I just said. I think the pitching matchup, I actually think, kind of evens out a little bit with what I just said about Peterson, with him being less familiar to the opposing hitters. Slightly better matchup numbers, actually, and Fried being very familiar. And Fried, what was the other thing I was saying about Fried? I forget. What else did I say about him? I don't even remember. Oh, the fact that this is going to be the best offense that he's faced all season so far. And then, yes, both teams have really good offenses. The Yankees have a slightly better offense. And the bullpens, I think, are kind of a wash a bit. Both teams have good bullpens. So I think this is a close game and close matchup all around. And given that, again, I see some value on the Mets there. So that would be the way that I would play that game. That's going to do it for me, man. Today, my plays one more time are the under in Denver and Oklahoma City in the NBA Game 7, 213.5 or 214, whatever the best you can get is. Another Game 7 action in NHL. We're going to go with Florida on the money line, -125. Baseball, we got Houston, Texas, under the 8. We got first 5 innings under in Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, under the 4.5 with a little bit of juice there. Milwaukee, full game run line, -1 at -113. Dodgers, full game -1.5 run line at -115. And under 7.5 with a little bit of juice in Seattle, San Diego. That's going to do it. Let's have a good one, man. We got to turn it around because I hate just sitting right below the break-even point this year still. It has been a bad 2 years for me. There's no way around that. I had a really good half of the year 2 years ago when I started this show, and I was coming off my best year ever probably in 2022, and then 2023 was also really good, but you only got about the last half of that year from me, and then since then it's been a struggle. A slight loss last year, and this year has been a slight loss as well, but March was just so abysmal that given that, it's actually a miracle that I'm only slightly below break even, to be honest. But let's get this done. That's going to do it for me for now, man. Tower Gang Toad on Twitter. I will be making an announcement soon that you guys want to pay attention to, so follow me for that. That will probably happen tomorrow. And Patreon.com/TowerGain to support the most offensive podcast out there and get Bohemian Grove tickets. You'll be able to come see us in late June in Florida. That's going to do it. Peace out. And thanks for hanging out, guys. Good to see some new faces. We've had some new faces the last couple of days, so I appreciate it. Thanks to Andrew. Thanks to the longtime listeners as well. And thanks, Henny, for hanging out here. I don't know if I've seen you in here before, but thanks anyway, man. So thanks to everybody, and let's have a good one. Happy Sunday. Peace.